Welcome to Lesson 1. In Lesson 1, we will explore oral language and its connection to learning to read. We will discuss when and how language is learned, the components of oral language, and how parents and teachers can nurture language development. We will also take a look at what it takes to become a skilled reader as we explore the simple view of reading, Scarborough's reading rope, and structured literacy. Let's start by doing a simulation. Here is a message. Please pause this video to read it. Welcome back. Did you have difficulty reading the message? What if I gave you the code? Let's try again. Pause the video and use the code to decode and read the message. Press play when you have figured it out. Is this what you read? Yes. Imagine you are a beginning reader without the code to figure words out. That would be frustrating, right? The purpose of this simulation is to demonstrate the importance of code-based phonics instruction. We will explore this in depth throughout the course. So what does it take to become a skilled reader? Let's discuss oral language. Did you know that oral language is often called the bedrock of reading and writing? Without oral language, children are at an extreme disadvantage when learning ways in which we speak, the meaning behind the words, and how that translates to the written word. The development of oral language is one of the child's most natural accomplishments and occurs through interaction with their environment, their genes, and their own thinking abilities. In general, here is how oral language develops. At 0 to 3 months, babies communicate by cooing, crying, or smiling. From 6 to 8 months, babies start to articulate speech like babbles, including sounds like b, 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 p, p, p. From 7 months to 1 year, babies imitate different speech sounds, longer groups of sounds, and words like mama, dada, bye-bye. From 1 to 2 years of age, babies learn more words each month. They begin to put 2 words together into short phrases, and they begin asking questions like, "Where's Kitty?" From 2 to 3 years of age, they have words for almost everything. 2 to 3 words are spoken together and they are more easily understood. At 3 to 4 years of age, they begin saying sentences with 4 or more words. They talk about activities and people, and they're easily understood by all. From 4 to 5 years of age, they have a clear voice, they have detailed sentences, they can stick to a topic, they use appropriate grammar, and they say most of the sounds correctly. The connection between language and literacy, language proficiency in reading, spelling, and writing achievement are strongly related to one another. Students with delayed or poor language acquisition will very likely be poor readers and writers. Oral language lays the foundation for the reading and writing skills children will develop as they enter and progress through school. Having a solid foundation in oral language will help them become successful readers and strong communicators. Learning to read starts from speech to print. Let's take a look at the oral language components, starting with phonological skills. Phonological skills are those that give an awareness of the sounds of the language, such as the sounds of syllables and rhymes. In addition to being important for oral language development, these skills play a foundational role in supporting word-level reading. Syntax. Syntax refers to an understanding of word order and grammatical rules. Morphology. Morphology refers to the smallest meaningful parts from which words are created, including roots, suffixes, and prefixes. Pragmatics. Pragmatics refer to an understanding of the social rules of communication. For example, pragmatics involve how we talk when we have a particular purpose. If we're trying to persuade someone versus trying to appease someone. How we communicate when we're engaging with a particular audience. Is it a family member versus an employer? And what we say when we find ourselves in a particular context. Are we engaging in a casual conversation or are we delivering a public speech? Semantics or vocabulary. Semantics or vocabulary is the understanding of the meaning of words and phrases. Now that we have discussed the importance of both being able to decode words and having strong oral language acquisition, let me introduce you to the simple view of reading. The simple view of reading, or often called SVR, is an equation that describes the components necessary to become a skilled reader, or a reader who can understand and interpret what they read. They have strong reading comprehension. Reading comprehension is the product of both word recognition and language comprehension. You will notice that the equation involves multiplication. This is because you must have both word recognition, sometimes referred to as decoding, and language comprehension to have strong reading comprehension. Take a look at these equations. If I have strong word recognition but weak language comprehension, my equation is 1 times 0 equals 0. Therefore, I cannot have strong reading comprehension. If I have weak word recognition but strong language comprehension, my equation is 0 times 1, which still equals 0. I must have both strong word recognition and language comprehension to have strong reading comprehension. My equation would be 1 times 1 equals 1. So what are the skills involved in word recognition and language comprehension? Let's look at Scarborough's reading rope to explore them. Scarborough's reading rope is made up of lower and upper strands, word recognition, and language comprehension. The lower strand, word recognition, includes phonological awareness, decoding, and sight recognition. The upper strands include background knowledge, vocabulary, language structures, verbal reasoning, and literacy knowledge. Let's talk about the components of the lower strands. Phonological awareness is a skill set that includes identifying and manipulating units of oral language, such as words, syllables, onsets, rhymes. Decoding is the ability to apply knowledge of letter-sound relationships, or phonics, to correctly pronounce written words. And sight recognition. Our sight word memory is also referred to as our orthographic lexicon, which includes all the words we can read accurately and effortlessly. The upper strands include background knowledge. Background knowledge is an essential component in learning because it helps us make sense of new ideas and experiences. Readers rely on background knowledge to attend to and make sense of what they are reading. Vocabulary. An extensive and rich vocabulary enables readers to make sense of what they are reading. A reader with rich auditory and oral vocabularies will find it easier to read through texts that contain words that they have not seen in print before. Language structures. This consists of syntax and semantics. Remember, syntax is the arrangement of words in a phrase or sentence, and semantics is the study of the meaning of morphemes, words, phrases, and sentences. Verbal reasoning includes inference and metaphor. Inference is a conclusion that one can draw from known facts or evidence, while metaphors can be a word or phrase used to say that something is another thing in order to suggest that they are similar. And lastly, literary knowledge, such as print concepts, letters versus words, one-on-one correspondence, reading from left to right and top to bottom, spaces come between written words, and letter order matters in words. And it also consists of genres of literature, so different types of books or stories defined by certain characteristics. Scarborough's rope captures the complexity of learning to read. The word recognition strands work together as the reader becomes accurate, fluent, and increasingly automatic with repetition and practice. Concurrently, the language comprehension strands reinforce one another and then weave together with the word recognition strands to produce a skilled reader. This does not happen overnight. It requires instruction and practice over time. So, what should instruction look like? Let's explore structured literacy. Structured literacy emphasizes highly explicit and systematic teaching of all important components of literacy, including phonology, sound-symbol relationships, syllables, morphology, syntax, and semantics. Structured literacy teaching is systematic and cumulative, meaning it follows the logical order of language, beginning with easier concepts, progressing to more difficult concepts, and each step is based on the concepts previously learned. It requires direct teaching of concepts with student-teacher interaction while incorporating multisensory teaching to enhance memory and learning. Structured literacy is diagnostic in that teachers must continually assess and adapt instruction based on the individual needs of students. When looking at the ladder of reading, you will see that 35% of students learn to read easily with broad instruction, meaning instruction that is not explicit and encompasses differing philosophies. However, 40 to 50% of students require code-based, explicit, systematic, and sequential instruction to become proficient readers. And 10 to 15% of students, those with dyslexia, need many repetitions of explicit, systematic, sequential, and diagnostic instruction. Do the math. Why wouldn't we use an evidence-based approach to teaching reading that benefits all children, not just 35 to 40% of them?